This is a spiritual story of Kapil Muni and his disciple Saanak. The sun had just begun its slow descent over the horizon at Gangasagar. The sea shimmered in the golden light, and the air was still, as if nature herself was holding her breath. Inside a simple thatched hut near the edge of the forest, Kapil Muni sat in deep silence. His presence radiated a peace so profound that even the birds perched quietly on the branches above. His disciple, Saanak, sat nearby, visibly restless. He had been contemplating a particular truth from his master's teachings, one that refused to settle easily in his mind. Unable to restrain himself, Saanak finally spoke. Gurudev, he said softly, you have taught me that Purusha is merely the witness untouched by actions, beyond pleasure and pain. But then who is the one feeling sorrow, suffering, joy, and longing within me? If Purusha only watches, who suffers? Kapil Muni opened his eyes gently. There was no surprise in his expression. Only the calm recognition of a student reaching the threshold of real inquiry. Saanak, he said, come with me. They walked silently to the river bank where the Ganga met the sea. Kapil Muni picked up a clay pot, filled it with water, and placed it on the soft sand. Look at this pot, he said. Inside it is water. But is the pot the water? No, Gurudev. And is the water the pot? No. They are separate, though they appear together. Kapil Muni smiled. In the same way, Purusha and Prakriti exist together, but they are not the same. Purusha is the witness, the eternal seer. Prakriti is everything else, the body, the senses, the mind, and yes, the pain. Saanak frowned. But the pain feels so personal. When I grieve, it feels like I am grieving. That, said Kapil Muni, is the illusion born of avidya, ignorance. The mind says, I am hurting, and Purusha, though untouched, reflects this like a mirror reflects a fire next to it. But does the mirror burn? Saanak's eyes lit up with a flicker of understanding. No, the mirror reflects, but it remains unchanged. Exactly, said the sage. The pain is experienced in the mind and body, in Prakriti. But when the mind forgets its source, it says I and borrows the identity of Purusha. That is the root of bondage. They sat down on the river bank, listening to the rhythmic sound of waves. Kapil Muni continued, imagine a crystal near a red flower. The crystal appears red, but its nature has not changed. The self, the Purusha, appears to feel, to act, to desire, but it does nothing. It simply shines. Saanak closed his eyes. The idea was simple, yet its depth was dizzying. Then Gurudev, he said slowly, is liberation the moment I stop identifying with the mind and its experiences? Kapil Muni nodded. Yes. When the seer knows it is not the seen, when the light knows it is not the shadow it illuminates, then that is Kaivalya, complete liberation. But what about compassion? Love? Are they not experiences? If Purusha does not feel, can there be love? Kapil Muni smiled gently. Ah, dear Saanak, love is not an emotion. It is the natural radiance of Purusha when not veiled by ignorance. Real compassion flows when there is no me and you, only pure awareness seeing itself in all forms. The wine stirred slightly. The sun dipped lower. So, Saanak whispered, I am not the one who feels pain. I am the one who is aware of pain. And in that awareness, pain comes and goes, but I remain. Yes, my son, Kapil Muni said, placing a hand on his disciple's head. You are not the flame nor the smoke, you are the space in which they appear. Know this, and you will never suffer again, even if the body does. The Ganga flowed on, silent and eternal, reflecting the sky just as Purusha reflects the dance of Prakriti, never touched, always free. Moral of the story. Pain arises in the mind, not in the witnessing self. Purusha consciousness only observes, while Prakriti nature feels, acts and reacts. Suffering is born from identification with the non-self. Liberation is not the destruction of experience, but the end of false identification. In truth, you are the witness, eternal, untouched, and free. Om Namah Shivaya.